famous instructor by the name of John Jacobs once said, and I'm paraphrasing, that tournament golf is being able to predict the result before the event. In other words, the way I look at it is, understanding how your ball is going to curve into the hole is absolutely crucial. We want to know this before we start. So today I want to talk about how to hit fades and how to hit draws. Now I've put an alignment stick right in line with my target, and I'm going to fade some around it and I'm going to draw some around it. Now this next comment may shock you. On a fade, I want my club face closed at impact, and this is the key, relative to the target. It will be open relative to the path, but closed relative to the target, because the club face dictates where the ball starts. This is absolutely crucial. And then the club face relative to the path is how the ball will curve. So let's start off by hitting a fade. When you hit a fade, you want to start the ball left of the target. In other words, left of this alignment stick. So I'm going to go ahead and aim my club face left of the stick. I then know that the club face has to be open relative to my path. So I'm going to go ahead and open my stance so it is going more left than my club face. And then I'll go ahead and make my swing. That ball started to the left of the target and faded right back. It started to the left of the target because my club face was pointing left of the target at impact, but my club face was open relative to a path that was even more left than the club face. Let's turn around and hit a draw now. Using the same information, we're going to go ahead and start our draw to the right of the target by pointing the club face right of the target. So I'll point it right of that alignment stick. And then I'll make sure that my stance is going even more right than my club face, so that'll make my club face close relative to my path. And now I'll draw it around the stick. And there I've hit a nice little draw that starts right of the target and falls right back to the target. So using TrackMan has really taught me a lot about ball flight. And what I've found is with something like a mid-iron, like a 5 or 6 iron like I'm using right now, it's good to use a 2-to-1 ratio. In other words, if you want to draw the ball, start your club face 2 degrees to the right of the target and swing 4 degrees right of the target. If you want to hit a fade, start your club face 2 degrees left of the target and have the path 4 degrees left of the target. That way the club face is open relative to the path but closed relative to the target line. I think it was Lee Trevino once said that there are 2 shots that don't work in golf. A fade that starts to the right and a hook that starts to the left. So in order to make sure your ball starts left of the target on a fade, have the club face closed relative to the target. In order to have it start right of the target on a draw, have your club face pointed right of the target. It's kind of like when you're a good putter and your ball is always staying above the hole. You never want your ball on a draw to ever cross the target line. You want it starting right and moving towards the target line. On a fade, you want it starting left and moving towards the target line. Never cross your target line. And if you keep these ratios in mind and understand the relationship between the club face and the target and the club face and the path, you'll be like John Jacobs and you'll be able to predict the result before the shot.